focus in the go-to-market side is always the greatest Achilles heel of so many startups. A lot of startups I'm talking to lately have way too many use cases and way too many target segments, and they think they can attack all of them all at the same time. The flexibility is a trap. If you're just starting your relationship with the analyst when you sign your contract, you're behind already. We're coming up with our short list. Who are the top 2 or 3 analysts who we need to have a strong relationship with, who might be writing the Magic Quadrant or the Wave or whatever, and who are we going to go after now? It's wild how fast you can get to market now with AI tools. Because of AI, companies are actually getting to customer-facing product much faster than they ever were before. They're vibe coding their way into a product in a couple of months, and they've not had enough time to really bake in the go-to-market strategy. People are hiring heads of marketing way too early, and your first marketer should be a product marketer.
I've always loved the term masshole. It's just one of my favorite things.
I embrace it wholeheartedly. Like I grew up in Massachusetts. I've lived most of my adult life in Massachusetts. I did live in San Francisco for a little while, and that's when my most mass-holy nature came out. When I lived in the Bay Area. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I missed it, I guess.
Well, folks from Massachusetts are a little bit more straightforward. Here in California, we like to talk shit behind people's backs.
There you go. Yeah, we're at least mean to your face. Like if I think something, I'm just gonna say it.
And so. I appreciate that, even though I can't demonstrate it as a quality for myself, but I appreciate it.
I can't demonstrate. By the way, are New Hampshire people Red Sox fans?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. New Hampshire's in Red Sox Nation.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
What was that bad, man?
No, I think that was a fair question. I just got to make sure I don't have any Yankees paraphernalia around me.
Are you a Yankees fan on the side?
On the side, yeah. So Dodgers number 1, Yankees number 2. It's a family thing. It's probably not worth exploring on this pod.
Yeah, let's not.
I will say that those are intriguing choices.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in LA, and so it was all Dodgers, all Lakers.
Yeah, that's why. Why did you? Well, adding the Yankees there.
Okay, all right. So yeah.
All right. So Rachel, you want to know how we like to have fun? We hit record 2 minutes ago, so we were recording Masshole because that's a great.
We cold open.
I clocked that on the podcast recording thing. And also not my first rodeo, friends. I am open.
Wow, look at this masshole in the effect. God,
sorry.
I love this. No, do not apologize.
Yeah, please.
Sam, please cut the sorry out and leave everything else in. Thank you.
From ABM to PLG, from medic to medpic, the world of business is constantly evolving. We'll cover the who, what, where, when, why, and most importantly, how you get the transaction. I'm Matt Amundson, and he's Craig Rosenberg. Let's get started.
So here's how we got here today. We were just talking about how I think we scheduled this months ago. But I met you through Scott Mercy, and he was like, dude, you gotta meet Rachel. She's one of the best that I've ever worked with, especially with early stage, which is a really interesting and difficult, challenging, area. Matt is also a masochist. He does early stage CMOing, which is he throws himself out there. Yeah. So that, and then when I met you, you weren't to Masshole. Well, you were, I guess. Technically, by location you were, but you high energy, doing really interesting things, and a topic we had, product marketing, go-to-market strategy on the marketing side for early stage. We haven't really had that conversation, so I thought it would be amazing to have you on the show, and that's why you're here today. So welcome to the transaction.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm gunning for the Sam McKenna Award, so hopefully we'll make it we'll have a good conversation. I shoot high. But didn't on the Sam McKenna thing, didn't you guys talk about having an award for like having her be the best guest? I was like, I can do better.
Oh,
I love challenge accepted. I like it. Here we go.
You know what?
That was a really good episode. I have to admit, I only started listening when I met you, Craig, back a couple months ago, but then now I'm hooked, and it's weird because I feel like I know you both really well and you don't know me at all. So we're having like a strange parasocial relationship moment.
Yeah, no, this happens to people all the time. And so we really appreciate that. But actually, if you don't mind for this one, I introed you as, that's our classic intro, but for the audience, you want to do like a minute on you and your background, just a little bit? We don't normally do this, but I think it's appropriate here.
No, I think it's good because who am I? I'm a nobody. So I've actually I've been flying under the radar for a bit, and that's
there
on
you go. Thank you. You're in marketing.
Yeah.
Flying under the radar is different than, yes, thank you. Much better branding. Much better branding.
So I started my career as an industry analyst, and I was at Forrester I started out covering like data center facilities because nobody else would cover that. It was like the most boring thing. And they're like, you want to be an analyst? You get data center facilities. And I was like, let's do this. Power, cooling, fire suppression, like, I can get excited about that. And slowly over time, I mean, honestly, actually I can. But over time, I got a chance to cover a couple different things at Forrester. And I remember last time, Craig, we were geeking out about being ex-analysts. Last time we talked. And I eventually ended up in storage. And then this weird bookstore came around saying, we've got a storage solution. It's cloud. It's S3. It was Amazon. So, that I was lucky enough to be at Forrester at the dawn of cloud and got to cover early cloud, and then jumped over to the vendor side and worked in cloud storage at some big tech, at Riverbed, at NetApp. Then I did small tech, and that's when I really got the bug to do startups. And then for the past 10 years, I've been doing early stage startups.
Love it.
At Cloud Health through the acquisition of VMware, then most recently at Chronosphere, 4 years. Amazing time, learned a lot, decided I wanted to just go basically freelance independent. And now I'm working with a whole bunch of different companies, and working on my novel. So that's my life these days.
Ooh, that's amazing. By the way, speaking of data center cooling, if you guys don't mind, last night I watched the Mission Impossible where he dives into that water to get the thing out. It's an incredible scene. Was that a data center underwater? What was that?
It was.
Okay.
And that's a real thing.
What?
So yes, it's a real thing. If you Google, so around 2010, I think it was Microsoft started putting data centers underwater because the most expensive thing about data centers, do you know what it is?
The cooling.
The cooling, right? And so what's really cheap, easy way to cool something? Ocean water? Ocean water, right?
Thanks, Matt. You're so excited in your answers.
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm like,
no,
I'm in
great.
teacher mode.
Please help me.
So, I mean, okay. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I'm just because you mentioned the underwater data centers, it's what gave me the idea for the concept for a data center on the moon. And that's what my novel is about.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So anyhow, there's the full spectrum of industry analysts to early stage. Oh, and I should have said, and at all of those companies, NetApp, Riverbed, Chronosphere, Cloud, I'm a product marketer. That's really that's my jam. That's my focus. And yeah, so even when I was like first marketer in the door, like I was at Chronosphere, I was a product marketer. I know enough to be dangerous in the other areas, but that's my focus area.
Love it.
You know what? I'm going to say high energy. Matt, what do you think of Rachel's energy level on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 being extremely energetic, 1 being not energetic.
Oh, no. Do I need to turn it down? Do I turn the dial down?
No.
Okay.
That was my point. Sometimes when we have new guests, we get a little freaked out. They don't know how to handle us. They did not do their pre-work. And this has been awesome so far, including you going with the Ethan Hunt, understanding my Ethan Hunt call. So sorry.
Yeah. Can we break down any other Mission Impossible films? Let's talk Burj Khalifa. Do we think that was a viable? No.
Wait, I'm going to say this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Oh no, I actually used to use the GIF from Mission Impossible in like some of my Forrester presentations. Like the GIF from the very first one where he belays down from the ceiling to tap on to hack into the mainframe. I used to use that in my presentations all the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So let's get going, even though we're having fun already. So Matt gives you. Oh wait, Matt, were you gonna ask a question? By the way, when I interrupted,
No.
you weren't. Okay. So we got, as you know, there's two big questions on the show. One is like we ask you to tell a story, amazing go-to-market story. And then two, we talk about like, the 1 to 3 things you're seeing that work today. And we're really, from a product marketing perspective, will be fascinating. So on the story and your desire to beat Sam McKenna, let's hear what you got. What do you got for us?
Okay, I don't know if I can beat Sam's story because that was good. I thought about this a bit. Okay, so I'm going to tell a story. I'm not going to name names. And I also think the statute of limitations on this has passed because it's now been like 15 plus years.
All right.
So I want to tell you the
Vintage.
story. Yeah, it's vintage and it's just such a good one. And just before I say it, the person the story is about, amazing person. They were a mentor to me. I very much respect them, but this is going to be a little bit embarrassing to them. So I'm not going to say who it was.
Yes.
This is the story of how I gave my very first solo, like main stage presentation at a conference. I, believe it or not, was a shy child. I was not extremely
believe
out. Okay. Well, I was a little bit shy. I was scared of giving presentations. Like I did not like public speaking. It was not my jam. And so I was at Forrester. You have to be able to give talks. You have to give speeches. That's a big part of being an analyst. And so I was gearing up for my very first presentation at a Forrester conference. And, it was a co-presentation. So I was like, okay, I'm not on my own. I've got a co-presenter. I can do this. But I was the more junior person. So basically I did all the heavy lifting. I built the slides. I built the talk track. I built the whole presentation. There was a whole back and forth and banter. It was going to be a great 2-person presentation at a Forrester conference in Las Vegas at 9 a.m. on the last day of the conference.
Which expo hall? Which conference center?
It was at the Venetian.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
where,
one.
yeah.
I like that one.
I've spent way too many nights at the Venetian. Like the smell of it, just when you walk in, the smell, that's the international flavors and fragrances smell that they pump through the air. Anyway, it just makes me feel nauseous. So of course the presentation's at 9 a.m. So I'm up at 5. I'm practicing, I'm rehearsing. I get there an hour early. I scope out the room. Everything's good. We're 45 minutes out. My co-presenter is not there. We're 30 minutes out. My co-presenter is not there. We're 10 minutes out. My co-presenter is not there. About 4 minutes out, the room's already filled up. My co-presenter shuffles in, sunglasses on, a little disheveled, sits down in the front row, leans back, puts their feet up on the chair in front of them and says, I think you got this one solo.
Oh.
So I was like, I don't got this solo. I need you. And he was like, I'm not in a state to be presenting right now. You know this stuff cold. You got this. I believe in you. I'm here.
Oh.
And he was like, but I'm not here to present. I'm here to support you.
Oh
and so that was, so I'd like to say I got up there and I crushed it. I don't, but honestly, I don't remember at all. Like, I think I blacked out. I got to the end. People said, I mean, I didn't completely shit the bed. I'm sorry. I don't know. Are we allowed to swear? I didn't completely.
Oh, please. We encourage it. Yeah.
Bleep it out. Okay. I didn't completely shit the bed. I don't think it was that great, but, I survived. And at the end, he was like, see, I knew you could do it. You didn't need me. And I was like, I'm going to kill you.
There is something so crazy about presenting in front of a big audience like that. You do leave your body. You absolutely leave your body. You're just hovering above, looking down at yourself presenting and just going
I know.
Oh my God, what's on the next slide? What's on the next slide? I can't remember what comes next.
And I get into a fugue state too, where I'm just going and luckily if I've done it right, I've rehearsed it a few times, so I don't need to worry about the timing and I just I just go. Yeah. But yeah, this was my very first one. So that kind of got me over my fear of presenting, in front of large audiences and giving webinars and, giving big talks because I was like, okay, if I could do that, I can do whatever I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit of hopefully it was good.
That was a great story. Are you fucking kidding? By the way, did you watch the show The Studio?
No. Do I need to?
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the head of the studio has a very similar situation to what you just described. That was a great story. Also, I believe that there's a guy in a full red outfit behind us doing things. Yeah,
I know. That's my husband just wandering in and out of the screen because that's what he does when I'm on podcasts. Like, have you seen? I was on the and my son's probably about to come join me because they just can't leave me alone. I told him I just need an hour alone. I was on do you know Corey Quinn? I was on last week in AWS, like his podcast, which is a pretty big one. And my husband just walked back and forth like 4 times. I'm like, guy, I just need an hour. Like, can you just leave me alone? They love me too much. I'm just too amazing.
I like it. All right. So that was so well done.
We love that story.
You're still tracking great. Okay. So here's the meat. We just you get us going, and then we'll ask as we go and see where the conversation goes. But I'll give you a little context, which is, Matt and I started the show because we were constantly just trying to figure out what's working today and what's not, because things were changing so fast. And then we were just having fun doing it. And we were like, let's just make a podcast. And so that, it's fun for us to do. And we also want to learn. So the big question we ask is what are the 1 to 3 things you feel like work in today's environment? And, give us examples and we'll dig in on kind of what it looks like. And we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say there.
Yeah, no, and it's such a good question. And I agree with what you've been saying recently, is that things are changing so fast right now. Like, I've not seen the speed of change in the 20 or so years I've been in, basically all only in B2B, SaaS since it was invented, deep tech, and all of a sudden things are changing faster than ever. Here's one thing though that's not changing, and it's industry analysts and the need to engage with them.
You'd do that.
Yeah, I can't not. And it's not just because I was an industry analyst, but I've worked with so many companies, so many startups on their analyst strategy, and all of them seem to make the same mistake, which is not engaging early enough and not taking it seriously enough. I think a lot of companies are like, we'll just do Gartner later. We're not big enough. We're too small. We'll do Forrester later. We're too small. There is a point where you're too small to buy a subscription, but I don't think there's ever a point when you're too small to have a relationship and start building that, because it's a long game. It's a really, really long game.
So you recommend, even for people that are not ready to sign up for a subscription to either Forrester or Gartner, go out, try to schedule some time with an analyst, get to know them, start to seed your story in early, and just start to build a relationship. And then as you become a customer of theirs, that's when, then you're not building from the time that you've already started your contract. You're building before then.
Exactly. If you're just starting your relationship with the analyst when you sign your contract, you're behind already, right? Yeah. You should have 1 to 2 years of relationship building. I think a lot of people really are a little disillusioned by the analysts and feel like they're really pay for play and oh, you can't get anywhere without paying. And at least for Forrester and Gartner, I promise that is really not true. They are so separate from the commercial. And I'm not just throw the other ones under the bus. I just don't have as much personal experience with the other ones. But the analysts are so commercially separate from the commercial agreements. They're interested in exciting new tech. People sometimes say oh, the analysts are always behind the times. That's because the new exciting vendors aren't talking to them, aren't taking the time to talk to them. And I think this has been true forever. When I was an analyst, and I covered a bunch of different things, but I was covering the hyperconverged space, and there was this little startup with 4 people called Actifio, and the CEO used to come visit me and bring me tiramisu because he knew I loved tiramisu. And we would just eat tiramisu and chat. And you're yes, I can be bought for tiramisu.
I was going to say, that really flies in the face of your pay-to-play argument.
But it was more about the chat and the relationship, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that he remembered that was something that I liked.
That's very cool.
And flying forward to, today, if I look back at the startups that I've worked with and I've advised, usually we start the analyst relationship. We do briefings. We meet at conferences. there's certain things you can't do without a paid relationship.
Sure.
But there's lots that you can.
Yeah.
And that's just going to pave the way to actually getting something out of it in the many years later. So even like I'm working with a company now that's just about to come out of stealth, and we're going to Analysts right away. They're not going to probably buy a subscription for a couple of years, but they're already, we're coming up with our short list. Who are the top 2 or 3 analysts who we need to have strong relationship with, who might be writing the Magic Quadrant or the Wave or whatever, and who are we going to go after now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but what is so that's, you're with a seed company and you're doing this, but what do you do? So I'm a young, mostly founders at that point. And so so you feel, is it Gartner, Forrester, independent analyst? Like, do you map the analyst world? And then when you say go to them, like what do you recommend? How do you recommend people approach this?
So usually we'll do our research and make a list, right? Who are the 15 to 20 analysts in our space who might be relevant and we might be able to form a relationship with? And those analysts are going to cover from Gartner to IDC to Forrester to lots of independents. And the independents and the boutique firms can be the lifeblood for startups, especially as you're just getting started. And like maybe a Forrester or Gartner doesn't want to talk to you or you can't get traction with them. That's fine. You can get a lot from the boutiques. So you make your list, right? And then you need to have some meaty news to come to them with, right? So with this particular seed stage company that I'm working with, we're going to come to them with a pre-brief on their launch, on their coming out party, basically, right? And we're going to set up 30 to 45-minute briefings for each of these analysts. And we're working on, like we tell them the whole story, not just the tech, but also like the business and the founding and the customers and like they like a really holistic story. We can talk about that more in depth. And then from there, we'll see like who are we getting traction with? Like which of the analysts are really nodding along and saying like, oh yeah, like this, I get this. And which are like, yeah, whatever. And we'll probably narrow it down to like 2 or 3 analysts from there that we think we can actually have bought in on our vision and we can start to build a relationship with. And from there, it just goes into a cadence of, every 6 months, making sure we're touching them, like live, and then every month, even touching them virtually with an email or on social and things like that. And it's just kind of like a little playbook that you go through. Interesting.
So when you talk about like keeping in touch with them, like via email, do you think of things like almost like a repeatable newsletter, like here's what's new, here's what we launched, like here's the type of customers we're adding, here's the use cases that we're solving for? Like, how would you structure something like that?
So usually in the beginning, I keep it really casual. It's not like a big formal newsletter. It'd just be like, hey, Craig, we just signed this super interesting client. It was for this much. This is their use case. Let me know if you want to chat about it more. That's it. Like just a quick job. Or if, hey, Matt, we released this feature that you were super interested in, like, or this was really right up your alley. Like I can give you a demo if you want. So it's just a couple lines, a little warm touch. They're not going to take you up on it most of the time, but that way you're staying on top of their mind, right? They're not forgetting about you because analysts talk to hundreds of vendors and they need to have a reason to remember you. And it's going to honestly be the personal relationship, not the like, here's a newsletter for analysts is great when you get bigger and you're going large. But when we're just trying to like really bond with 1 or 2 analysts, it's just the little touches. And it should be from the founder, ideally, right? The founder needs to be the one building that up.
Got it. Love it.
Yeah. I a couple thoughts on this. And then, so one is what I noticed when I was in the belly of the beast. So just for the show, I was at Gartner for almost 3 years, maybe 2.5 or something. And so one is they're normal people. That's very important for everyone to know. Like
who like tiramisu.
They really like tiramisu. And they don't like Ethiopian food. I'll discuss that team building party later. Yeah. So, some in our group at the time, a couple of them were germaphobes. It's not a good place for a germaphobe. But one is, it feels. I tell people, look, like you're gonna feel like it didn't work for a while. You really are because, one, they don't really tip their hats, like they don't, or they tip their cards, like they are, they're going to hear what you have to say. even if, and by the way, even on some where it feels like they didn't like it, like I could get off a briefing and I'd just be like, dude, like you didn't like that? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm just taking it in. What I noticed is like months later, right? Months later, you started to see, not all because we get so many briefings. You started to see like the stories manifest itself into their writing or what they're talking or how they're talking about things. Or you're in a big meeting and someone to say, oh my God, wait, I got to go look this up. I just did a briefing with someone who solved for this. Those things are how this works, but you have to go. You just got to do it. And you got to stick with it, because if it's an interesting story, which you shouldn't start a company if you don't have one, it will catch. So it's really interesting. Obviously, as you guys know, you can't name names when you're in but like he was really, a lot of the guys get really good, as I'm sure Rachel could tell you, at just creating this big, massive deck. And then they'll cut up the deck when they're doing different briefings or, presentations. A lot of them are like aiming to do as many presentations as they can. It's kind of a mark of like being able to travel to Singapore and do your thing. And like I started to watch him. He was really good, and I loved his stuff. And so I could see him adding stories from briefings over the year. So that, I was thinking, gosh, that vendor briefed him probably in January, and next January it's in the deck. And if you're in the deck, you're getting a big mention. Yeah. And the other thing is, if you sell enterprise software, like, just to be clear, they still buy Gartner. They still listen to Gartner. They still have really good relationships with those analysts. It's funny how many people try to push back on me at that. It's because nobody's been inside and listened to the calls that these guys take, right? Yeah. From like CIOs of Fortune 5 companies wanting to know what to buy for the year. So I love what you just said there. I think what I saw like on the briefing side was you also, in this I heard from another consultant, it's like you want to leave them a deck that they can go back and reference off the briefing. I needed that a lot. That was like my gold mine of information. Whether we were doing a writing or something later. And then the thing you said is they do want to know their technology wonks. They don't love Dell. I mean, like they work with Dell, and Dell pays a lot, and they've been doing it for years, and they have deep relationships with execs there. But they do want to be the ones to know about what's about to disrupt. That is like, it's crazy to think otherwise. Just, it's the reactions you get and the time that it takes for things to come around. So anyway, those are my thoughts. But from your perspective, so like in the seed company you just launched into the major firms, like when do you set expectations for, like, what should they expect to happen running this playbook?
I mean, this is a long game. And like what you just said, everything you just said, I completely agree with. To really get meaningful, like I would say it takes maybe 2 years of doing this consistently, at least, to get any kind of like tangible output. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, are you serious? We have to do this for 2 years. But the thing is, in the end, it's not a huge lift, right? Once you get up and going and you figure out, because I'm not saying go do this with 10 analysts. If you're a seed stage company, find 2 analysts who you think you can really connect with and build a relationship over a couple of years. And then you will start to see, the outcome. And that might be, it'll probably start as inbound people coming to you and say like, oh, I heard about you from Forrester. I heard about you from Gartner. And eventually it may lead to you being included in an evaluation, or, a ranking, which, to Craig's point, people still really, really look at this, and not just the enterprise. I mean, at my last company at Chronosphere, like, yes, we sold to the enterprise, but we sold a lot to, like, we called them large born in the clouds, right? Like really large scale, web scale, cloud scale companies. And they cared so deeply about Gartner. And it took us years of hard work to get into the Gartner Magic Quadrant. When we did, we were a leader. But it was years and years of work, with almost no return. And a lot of people looking at me saying like, you crazy, what are you doing? And I was like, this will work. Just patience.
I don't have enough people in my life saying you crazy.
You need that.
But you're not
I need
acting
that.
crazy enough, apparently.
I mean, Craig can attest that I do all the time.
Yeah. Well,
I coach
You
his sons
can't-
in football.
yeah.
so.
Okay.
He has road rage. That's one thing, Rachel.
that's
just
true.
To
That's
let you
true.
insight. Yeah. I'll be talking on the phone with him. Would be like, hang on, and then just start cursing out someone who just did some kind of driving move. I'm not
Are
kidding.
you sure you're not from Massachusetts?
I mean, it's in my soul. It's deep
Okay.
in my soul.
Yeah, I feel it. I felt a kindred moment with you. And yeah, I think
Yeah.
you secretly have some Massachusetts roots.
Yeah. And then number 2, he coaches a 14U football team, and trying to keep those guys in line requires occasionally, blowing his lid. And
Yeah.
so it's really intriguing to watch.
Yeah, I got
should film
so
it.
activated last night, Craig.
Oh,
At
I
one
heard.
point, I
Oh,
was
I heard.
I was quite dizzy. I'm like,
No
I'm
way.
not as
Wow.
young as I used to be.
Wow, Jesus, man! I did not know that one. Well, first of all, anything else on your list, or you want to keep digging on this? Because I have a couple more things to dig in on there. I want to get you and Matt's
I have more
opinion on.
things to talk on the list, but I also want to give, if you rather dig, like if you think the listeners are interested in going real deep and real nerdy on Analysts, I can also nerd out forever on that.
Yeah, keep pulling the sweater.
Let's just do one other thing, which is a more tactical set of recommendations for you. So we talked about it from an early stage perspective, but let's talk about, like, are there things that you do to be number one in the Magic Quadrant? And then, like, what do you do when you're, a late stage company, or, public or big? Like, is there any other things that we should be thinking about in working with the analysts in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, look, if there was a secret magic way to just immediately be number one in the Magic Quadrant, I would be out there selling that right now. But there's not, right? Because there's just so much out of your control. But I think in all of the evaluations, it comes down to the criteria and looking at every single one. And, like, I don't know if for those of you who haven't taken the time to dig into like a wave or Magic Quadrant, it's all, like, at least in the waves, these are published. It is long list of criteria, and the criteria are how they place everybody. And so if you're looking to, first of all, if you're not in an evaluation and you want to understand where you think you might be, download the criteria. And with Forrester, it's just in the wave document itself. With Gartner, it's the critical capabilities, which is it's a companion document. Download them and just work with the PMs on your team to do and actually SEs I feel like are the best at this because they can be so cynical. Love SEs. Just don't get me wrong. Shout out to all the SEs in my life who I care about deeply, but they can be very cynical about your own product, and they can be kind of very clear eyed. So go through the criteria and try and do an honest assessment of where you're at, where you're weak. Figure out how you can tell a story, or maybe even you work with the development team, right? I mean, if it's something that's low hanging fruit, most people don't change their roadmaps because of Gartner or Forrester, but, like, if there's something very easy and straightforward. And the other thing you can do is try and change the criteria, try and influence the criteria. They change it a little bit every year. And so I think it just comes down to understanding how are they putting people where they put them, and where do you want to try and move the needle on that? If you're very lucky, you get in on the ground floor of a new evaluation and they're coming up with the criteria for the first time, and you get to really shape the criteria from the start. I got a chance to do that once. I'm not going to name a name on that, but it helped tremendously. Let's just say it was the very first time that evaluation had come out, and we were very hands-on with the analysts helping shape the criteria, and it was in our favor.
Very cool. Very cool.
Love it. All right, keep going on your list.
Yeah, number
okay.
2.
Number 2. Okay, I put a bunch of things in here. I guess the other thing, oh gosh, I keep seeing this, and I'm curious if you all are seeing this too, because you also talk to a lot of startups. A lot of startups I'm talking to lately have, like, way too many use cases and way too many, like, target segments, and they think they can attack all of them all at the same time with a team of, like, 10 people.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times I want to grab them and shake them and be like, pick one. It doesn't have to be the right one. You can change later if it's wrong. Just pick one. This is making me crazy right now. And I feel like it's worse than it used to be. Are you seeing this too?
I think it's worse than ever. I mean, this is a classic
Really?
problem. Yeah, honestly, yes.
It's bad.
I think
agree.
probably because of the AI component, and like I think it's a little bit the sort of the product leaders and the CEOs of these companies are kind of like, well, anyone can use this, right? And they're kind of not wrong, but like convincing anyone to buy it is really, really hard. As an advisor for years and years and years, the biggest thing that I always, one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I was giving people, because I did a lot of advisory for MarTech and sales tech, was your product is not for marketing and sales. Sorry, it just isn't. Like when you're like, hey, this is for both, it's for neither. Like you cannot do that. And I think to your point, like that's only been exacerbated by, newer companies coming to market with AI tools that are for RevOps, BDR teams, sales teams, marketing teams, sales ops, marketing ops, customer marketing. You're just like, okay, back it up. Let's find a core audience and let's go get some product market fit before we start thinking about who else we want to expand out to. Because I think one of the things that people lose sight of is it's really expensive to run a go-to-market strategy to multiple ICPs, or at the very least, even just multiple personas within a single ICP. And it's also, you just don't have the resources to do it, right? Like you're going to find yourself in situations where it's like, where's the content for a RevOps person at a small stage company that is, in the fintech space? And you're like, dude, I don't have it. I don't have the bandwidth to build for each one of these categories, each one of these personas, and each one of these, company size segments. So I think that's a huge challenge. I always try to get people early on. Let's just pick a lane and let's go win that. Yeah. And that lane could be as narrow as, and I know we've talked about in Massachusetts quite a bit, but like this came up on a pod before. It's like, hey, like let's sell to every RevOps leader in Boston at a small company, right? Like go narrow, go win that space. I know it's not going to look great on a board deck, but like if you want to go get your first 100 customers, you're much better off focusing down to like a very, very narrow ICP.
Yes, I cannot agree more with you. And I think it is interesting you brought up AI too, that is one of the drivers behind this. I mean, so Craig, you're not seeing this same challenge?
No, I am. I just was interested in it's worse than it's ever been. And then I think Matt brought up a good point, which is, with AI, the flexibility is a trap because you'll be able to handle a lot of things. So the way I think about it is, at the end of the day, how old Salesforce? Like 30 years old, 20 years old, some 20?
Yeah.
Let's go.
20, about 20.
But the unit of one there is still the CRM, the SFA. And like you need this thing that you're always good at selling. And to whom? And that rhythm you build around this like single unit of one, and then you build around it later. But like it took a long time, for this to evolve. Now it's obviously evolved. It's enterprise software, but like even now, if you went in, nobody goes in like a salesperson, who that's our like my mark of like how we win is like, oh, I want to sell you all this stuff, and then at the end of the day they're arguing all these. Well, let's just do the SFA. That's what you want actually, which is like this thing that is like your core unit of one that you sell. And a core use case to a certain person at a certain type of company, and you get really good at it and you build off it. If you're all over the place, it's just impossible. And, I look at all these folks, it's like that have built great companies, and it was always, there was this unit of one. It's like Oracle was relational databases, and still, it's like that was the thing that was that anchor piece that everything around the company revolved around. Like ServiceNow, I remember working with them. It was like 15 years in, and they're like, hey, we can sell this to HR. Okay, great. By the way, that took them years to do too. And thank God they didn't do it until it was like 15 years in, and they had just nailed the help desk, right? And it's like, that's the thing, is you just got to nail this thing. And then Rachel said something I think that's really important, which is you can switch it. You can. Like one of our startups in the portfolio, they moved to a different use case. It was a good one because they were doing fine, but the time it took to onboard customers was unwieldy, and so they moved to another. That's a good business decision, and they moved to another one, which is sort of faster, a little lightweight, maybe a smaller ACV, but like now you could build a company around that, and then and so I agree. I was initially reacting, Rachel, to like it's worse now because I did feel like years ago at Topo when we were doing an account based, talking to people about being and just this conversation around the ICP seemed to be like radical, and it's still radical.
Still is, yeah.
I still say, it's radical in that people are embracing it, but then they're like, I have 10 ICPs. And I'm like, no, like, that's not.
Yeah,
I mean, and look, focus is always, I think, the greatest Achilles heel. Focus in the go-to-market side, especially, is always the greatest Achilles heel of so many startups. Right now, it feels so much worse to me than it ever felt before. And maybe it's because I'm talking to more companies and like I have the benefit of like, I'm not just in one company at a time, I'm in multiple. But I think it's because, to your point, Matt, actually, this just occurred to me, because of AI, companies are actually getting to customer-facing product much faster than they ever were before. Like it used to take a couple of years of development. Now it's like, they're vibe coding their way into a product in a couple of months, and they've not had enough time to really bake in the go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
Like it's wild how fast you can get to market now, like with AI tools. So I think that might be part of it. And also like, because the flexibility is a trap, right? Like, well, because we can customize it with AI, it can be for this person and this person and this segment and that segment. And like, pick one.
I think the other thing, really quick, Matt, and then go, is there is a really positive development on the technology side for ICP development, which is you can use data, first party, third party, to make good decisions on the ICP better than you ever had before. You can translate it off paper. Like that was the thing, is the people that did do the ICP, it was a piece of paper. And like now you can create the target account. You could use real data to figure out the ICP. You can use technology to actually take the ICP and actually translate that into a set of accounts. And you can actually take your target buyer and apply them to the accounts in a way that's a lot easier than it's ever been before. So like that, as we talk about this, there's a real advance in the market here that will allow you to do what you guys are talking about in a way you've frankly never had been able to do before. But sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
actually, I did. Please cut the sorry, Sam. But I didn't. Yeah. But I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No apologies are going into this episode.
Yeah,
Thank you.
If we're gonna bleep something, just bleep the sorries.
Yeah, we're freaking massholes at heart here.
That's right. That's right. We're leaning in.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think to Rachel's point, it's like the idea that you can go from literal idea to fully baked product in a matter of weeks now, I think is it's disrupting the sort of typical early stage business trajectory, which would also include building a go-to-market plan, right? And so people are just kind of coming to market with these products that are, quite frankly, very badass, right? Like I think in the not too distant past, you'd come to market with like this alpha product, and you'd need to find some friendlies who are willing to become your customers and give you product feedback and whatnot. But like you're seeing things that are like, well, how long have you guys been in business? And they're like, I don't know, 5 weeks. That are actually killer applications. We just hosted at our company, we hosted like an internal sales AI hackathon, and some of the stuff that our sales team built was badass. It was very specific to our own environment, not something that could be productized, but something that we could build process around. So I think the set of tools that are in place today, like with the cursors and the windsurfs and the lovables, like they enable people to take these ideas that they've always had swirling around in their head and bring them to reality so quickly. But the unfortunate part is for a lot of them, they're not, they've never been operators before. And so they're kind of like, all right, well, I built this. Who are you going to sell it to and how are you going to sell it? Nah, I don't know. Everybody would want this.
It's for everyone. Yeah, and I think on a few episodes ago you were talking about like the age of the go-to-market hacker, which I love so much, and that's awesome that you're doing sales hackathons. I actually used to do marketing hackathons with my team at Cloud Health. This was before AI, but like basically I was like, look, whether you're writing code or building a tool, like building a spreadsheet that's like a sales enablement ROI tool, like we would spend a day hacking at something, and it might be a new landing page and giving that like that technique that, you know, that was really fun. Imagine now if we did that and we actually had AI tools, I could just, you know, bring up my V0 and my cursor and like just type in, I want to build an ROI tool. It's incredible. So like, that's the other thing right now that's really blowing my mind is like the blue sky people that can really be big blue sky thinkers with AI are going to win right now in marketing. Cause like AI is only as creative as you are, right?
As you are. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So, it'll give you whatever you want, but you need to know what to ask it. I'm just very excited about it for, you know, certain use cases. Like does it write blog posts well? No. Does it edit my blog post well? Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
I totally agree. All right. So, any more on your list? We've had
2 great
left.
Ones, right?
I know they're all great.
I think those are my good ones. I mean, my other ones are.
Give us your bad ones. Give us the
you
bad
want my bad
ones?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. I have bad ones. Then I've got like my other random stories I was going to tell you.
Well, Matt. All right, go. Bad ones first. Go.
Well,
bad ones.
Do you want stories? You got very excited around stories.
I mean, I just have a fun story about how I give terrible advice sometimes, and this is self-deprecating
we
to
want
me.
that. Yes.
Well, that's good. Matt needs to hear this.
Yeah.
Okay. Really? Have you ever given someone really bad advice?
All the time, multiple times a day. I have 2
good.
kids.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've got one kid, and he never listens.
See, I give
anyways.
twice the bad advice. There you go.
2x. Yeah. Like
Well, actually, okay. So my not so good hot take was people are hiring heads of marketing way too early, and your first marketer should be a product marketer, also a self-serving idea. But
wait, that's not a bad take. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Matt, do you agree?
So I have an evolving take here, which is for years and years and years, I said, actually, the first marketing hire you should hire is demand gen. That was my take from probably 2013 to 2023. Like solid 10 years, I was like, you have to. Because my belief always was like, hey, look, CEO should be able to articulate what the primary value props are. And you should, as like, you know, a decent, well-rounded marketer with a strong background in demand gen, be able to take that and turn it into strong marketing campaigns. What I am telling early stage CEOs now is you should hire a product marketer first. Because if you can't nail your messaging, you cannot fuel your demand gen with something that's actually going to turn into a repeatable pipeline. You just won't. And yes, a CEO can do that, but like nowadays, like that, you know, maybe always they don't really have the bandwidth for it. And I think in a lot of cases, like what I was seeing in the earlier 2010s was more CEOs were sort of came from the go-to-market or came from the finance side. Now we see many more CEOs that are former engineers, almost sort of across the board, right? And so, you know, they have less go-to-market knowledge, and so utilizing them as a resource as part of your go-to-market strategy is trickier. It's not impossible; it's just trickier. And so having somebody who can come in and formulate the message and as well as the company narrative, which is a thing that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think of those as being sort of an A and B. They think of them as being one thing, but you have to have a company narrative. Why did we start? Who are we serving? What is our long-term mission versus just what is our product and what does it do? Those are two separate things that one is more of like, hey, how are we going to go tell our story, whether we're speaking to an analyst, as we talked about earlier, how are we going to tell our story on our website, and versus like what's going to go out in programs and actually hook people and get them excited about what we do, because they probably won't care that you started in 2023 or something like that.
Yeah. Can I add one on to that too?
Yeah, please do.
Not to, because I think I agree, narrative, messaging, but then one more, positioning.
Yes.
Where do you sit in the market?
Yeah.
How do you fit with other players in the market? Who are you? Who are you not? That's the other big one I've been working with a lot of companies on lately. Sorry, it just interrupted. Just wanted to.
No,
pop that
I
in.
think I think that is a really important point because I see fewer and fewer companies actually doing that. It's weird. They sort of rely on the analyst world to say, this is how everything gets positioned together. But I think one of the things like that's like a little bit of a sneaky trick here is like, let's say you're in the AI space. And maybe you don't compete with Cursor or Windsurf or Lovable, but you're a complementary product to them. Putting out content that shows how you're a complementary product to them, even if you're just creating visuals for like how a stack would come together, how a workflow would come together, automatically starts to put you in the market as like, oh yeah, if you're a Cursor user, if you're a Windsurf user, if you're a Lovable user, you're inevitably also going to be a whatchamacallit AI user, right? Like, that is a really strong play that almost no one is doing. And they're all just kind of like, well, I hope someone's going to put this content together so that we can reshare it and put it on our website or whatever. Just go out and build it yourself.
Yeah, just do it. And like, if the analysts come along and have something similar, amazing. But you can't wait for them. Like,
you can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. That was a good one. I think I will just say that, we had, I think that's shared with a lot of, whoa, is someone getting electrocuted right now? Is that you, Sam? He's constantly getting
I just heard
electrocuted.
that.
It's a problem. But the CMOs that, I've worked with, besides Matt's worked with me, I've had 6 or 7 here at the firm. They always say, well, these guys need product marketing first. But I don't know that that's the instinct of the company or the board. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's the thing.
It seems to be less common than I would think. I'm always surprised that product marketing is not the first in the door for all the reasons Matt just said, right? Because yes, the CEO can tell the story, but that's not the best use of their time. A and B, a really good product marketer can distill that story and make it scalable for everyone in the organization. Because like I've come into a lot of companies where I was the first product marketer in house, and the story could only be told by the CEO, and the CEO told it amazingly, and no one else could tell it. And so my job would have been like a great product marketer will take the CEO's vision and story, or the CTO, the founder's vision and story, and package it into something for the market and package it into something the whole company can use and the whole company can speak in the same voice together with the same story.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay, I like that. Now let's get this. Story number 2.
Okay. I will, just to throw myself completely under the bus and make me completely uncredible for the rest of everything else I've just said.
Most people don't stay this long into the podcast. So you're good.
Okay, good. Then no one's going to hear this story. So right out of college, I graduated basically right into like the Lehman Brothers crash and complete, garbage of a market. A bunch of my friends, I was very lucky and I got a job right out of school, but a lot of my friends were really struggling in the job market. My best friend was struggling a little bit. It came down to 2 companies. She had 2 pretty good offers on the table. One was from like a really big, and she wanted to go into MarTech, like at the time, I don't remember whatever we called it. And one offer was from like DoubleClick or like some really big, advertising company at the time. And the other was from this like 7-person startup that made something that didn't sound like it could ever have a real market, and it sounded really dumb. And so I told her, like, do not take that job at that 7-person startup. Like, that's not going anywhere. You be idiot not to, you got to take the job at DoubleClick. Luckily, she didn't listen to me because that 7-person startup was HubSpot. And we're still friends. Luckily, she didn't listen to me. And I was like, no one needs a software for marketing operations. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So clearly I'm
you know
on the nose.
I actually can vouch for that. That story is, I get it, because you know what? People ask me all the time and I do not give them a definitive. I queue them up with my take on all their options and hope that I can help them. That's my new thing. Like, people are trying to cheat because many of them don't listen anyway. So like, you just spent all this time giving them this advice and then they went the other way. Mm-hmm. Right. And then, I would say now I'm right not in startups are too hard. You got to you just got to let people go. There's vibe. That's vibe, not recruiting. But you're basically doing a vibe hire. You're choosing based on a lot of other really personal factors there. But I mean, later stage, I typically can tell people, whether I could tell whether someone's going to hate it or not. And so I would be right if I would give people that take, but since 70% of the time I've given people advice and they went the other way, I've just given up and just set myself up for success by providing them with my take on all sides and doing positives and negatives for each one.
That's smart. I was not that nuanced at 23 years old.
Your thing. I love it. That's a great story. I remember talking to Chris Degnan about Snowflake, and we were meeting in Palo Alto. And he's like, yeah, dude, it's weird. There's 12 engineers in this office. And I would just be selling the stuff myself. I was already in the rules. So I didn't say, okay, well, do you feel strong about what you could sell and whatever? And he ended up choosing that. And now, he's building his estate in Lake Tahoe. He was the first guy in there. From a go-to-market perspective, it was pretty amazing. Thank God at that time I'd already figured out don't give people advice on startups.
Yeah. Those snowflakers, man, they did so well. I was at a dinner not long ago with Denise Pearson, and the Denise aura is it was at night she walked in, they might as well just turn the lights off. She was glowing. It's just God, what that has done for those people. It's just, oh my God. Just come with lighting. I mean, I
I'm in
love all those
Boston. That's how we
people.
feel about the HubSpot people. That's HubSpot's our big Boston hit. Obviously, I'm so happy for my friend, and she went on to do another couple more successful startups too, and luckily doesn't listen to my advice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the moral of this podcast. Whatever you heard today, don't follow it.
Don't follow it.
Yeah, if you
Don't
want
listen to me.
Rachel, you did great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
What
that
a great
was
episode.
a great show. Yeah, that was fun, and you had really great takes, and you were funny. You told great
You're in
stories.
a forest.
I'm in a forest. My husband and son wandering around behind me, even though I told
great.
them to get the hell out of here.
No, that's even better. We appreciate you being in the forest. I love this kind of a West Coast, East Coast vibe. I've got Foster City behind me, and Matt lives right over there. So
okay.
Yeah, he's just
you
he's
can't
got his
tell because I got the
podcast.
beige background, but
Yeah, it looks like he's in prison with El Chapo.
yeah, the
But,
waters of Foster
he's-
City look very tropical today. From
I was
you.
about to say, you look like you're in the Caribbean or something. Why is it so tropical?
Well, Foster City's kind of the Caribbean of the Bay Area.
It
Yeah,
really
I-
is.
they
A
do
lot
say
of
that.
people have said that.
If you want to
Yeah.
grab a Five Guys and pick up your CVS prescription on your way to the water, it's a really good place. Actually, yeah, it looks beautiful today. It's amazing when it's like this because Matt and I used to marvel that there's nobody on the water. I mean, literally nobody out there, and it's beautiful today. And I mean, hey, what are we gonna do?
They do dye the water though, so I think they maybe have freshly dyed it. So you might want to stay out of there for the next.
Do they really
72
dye
hours.
it?
Yes, they have to.
They dye it. It's like this weird slime when you go in. It feels really weird. But yeah. It's
They didn't dye it during the pandemic, and it's just brown.
It's a fun fact about Foster City. You can't see it, but the bay is out there, which is it's so brown compared to Foster City's
Your
lagoon.
Caribbean sea
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Foster City.
Yeah,
Is it called a lagoon? It
is
right?
indeed. Yeah, it is.
But it's a fake lagoon.
It is faux. Yeah,
lagoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Foster
lagoon,
City's
yeah,
man.
it's,
The whole of it's just man-made. It used to just be the bay. So
I haven't been there in a long time. The
Well,
Forrester
come
had an
on
office
back.
there.
Come on back.
All right. I got
Yeah.
you. You know, welcome me back? Okay.
yeah.
We got a spot for you. Okay, great show. Thank you so much. I'm so glad this worked out. And
Yeah,
have a
thank you
great-
for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Okay. All right.
We're like analysts. Just keep sending us your ideas and stories, and we'll.
Oh, yeah, I'll
we'll
keep
see
pitching
what-
you. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Transaction. Craig and I really appreciate the fact that you've listened all the way to the end. What are you actually doing here? For show notes and other episodes, please visit us at thetransactionpod.com. Like and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other place you get your podcast from. Either you have walked away from your podcast device, or this is playing somewhere in the background. Someone in your house would really like for you to shut this off now.